digital really fuels that servitization because the digital capabilities allows us to forecast, to predict, and to act before it's happening. And that's exactly what our customers want from us.
Literally a very, very warm welcome from our Valtech Portugal offices here in Lisbon. Today we invited two digital leaders from impressive industrial manufacturers to talk about digital transformation and how it drives their businesses. Let me introduce to you Jelle from Vanderlande and Peter from Sika. But most of all, let's talk B2B. Great to have you here, guys, in our offices. A first short introduction. What's your role and what's your company you work for?
Yeah, first of all, great to be here, Herbert. Thanks for the invitation, being here in Lisbon.
You're very welcome.
So, Vanderlande is an automation company for material handling solutions, active in airports, business, parcel and warehouse. My role in that company is head of the digital service factory since 2 years. Strong background in service and now fully focusing on shaping a digital team that drives the servitization of the company.
Is the airport here in Lisbon one of your clients?
We have over 600 airports customers, so I need to check on the list.
Okay, world market leader, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, Peter.
So I'm working for Sika. That's a Swiss-based company with 100 years of heritage and history from the construction chemicals business, with 27,000 employees and with hundreds and thousands of products. And my role for the last 5 years has been driving digital transformation as leading an IT team within the corporate IT shared services team.
And how big are you both companies in revenue?
2.4 billion and 9,000 employees.
So growing fast.
Counting. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So Sika for this financial year is getting close to $10 billion, and hopefully in 2023 we can easily reach the 10 mark.
Cool. So very large industrial manufacturers. How important is digital nowadays, strategically seeing? Is it a board issue? Is it really relevant now?
I'll take this one first. So I'm happy to say that it is now. So in the last 2 years, it really took a lift through. The COVID pandemic really made us aware that it's going to be more remote, it's going to be less labor-based, and we need to serve our customers. So it's been on the PowerPoint charts to say for years, digital transformation, digital strategy is key for the company. But since 2 years, it really is, and I'm really happy that's the case because it's the future of the company.
It's all about you entering the company that it changed, right?
No. 4 years ago, I entered the company from a service perspective. Yes, I made it important with lots of people around me, but I was lucky to be in that spot, at that position 2 years ago. And from there, the Digital Service Factory start, and now we're fully focused on chasing the digital transformation of Vanderlande.
Well, this Digital Service Factory, we're going to zoom in there.
Yep.
Really great story. Sika, how important is digital?
I would say that thanks to digitalization.
Do you say Sika, or how do you pronounce it?
It depends on your accent, I would say, but I say Sika simply. Somebody says completely different way. Sometimes I don't understand which company are they talking about. But then it turns out that they are our own colleagues. So Sika decided a couple of years ago that digital transformation, digital customer centricity should be one of the fundamental strategic pillars of our company, on the top of market penetration, growing the business, increasing distribution, growing through acquisition, acquiring new technologies, new people, and sustainability. So finally, digital arrived where it belongs to. I think it was a couple of years before the pandemic, but the pandemic was definitely an enforced acceleration of our whole transformation. And thanks for God, at our company, it's not only about the technologies and the different bits and pieces of tools and platforms, but also the organization itself is going through a whole transformation.
Well, organizational transformation, we're also going to zoom in there. First topic, I know servitization is super important for many industrial manufacturers, but especially for Vanderlande, I think this is really picking up, right? Can you tell a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Vanderlande is making huge complex systems, right? And we call that the projects we deliver for our customers. And in the old days, there was limited service. It was really after sales and say, hey, if it breaks down, you can call us. But then you act as a supplier for this, for your customer. And what we see is that turns into the risk of falling in a commodity trap. There's more people that can do service in that area. But we really want to grow to more long-term partnerships with our customers. Fully understand day in, day out their complexity, their challenges, and to make them, the customers, competitive in their area. That's our goal. And in order to do so, we need to be really under the skin and partner up with our customers, which means you need to change your role that you play. If you're just a supplier that delivers the goods and then call when it's broken, you can't anticipate on what is changing. And we really want to move to the right, as they say, towards servitization, to take ownership of uptime, to take ownership of the full performance of the system, even towards the outcomes. And that's for us the servitization journey. And what's interesting, that digital really fuels that servitization, because the digital capabilities allows us to forecast, to predict, and to act before it's happening. And that's exactly what our customers want from us.
And can you give one cool example of this servitization in the aftermarket?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So you have to understand we have an install base of over 9 billion now with our customers. And so we need to...
9 billion products assembled into one service?
No, 9 billion worth of value out there in the market. And these are set there, they're placed there in the market right before we started with our digital journey. So we need to work on add-ons. We need to understand how our equipment is running. And one of the Google examples is for one of our key customers is on our cross-sorter solution.
The cross-sorter one.
Yeah, you almost forgot, right?
I almost forgot.
The cross-sorter solution that we have over 240 in the field in our install base. We've built a predictive maintenance solution where we measure. It's going to get very technical here, Herbert, but we're going to measure the carrier height.
A cross-sorter is a sort of small cart which is driving and where you can put baskets on and off and stuff like that, right?
Almost, but then it's a chain. Then it's a chain of cars, right?
Okay, yeah.
And it's going through the facilities of the customer, sorting packages, sorting shoes, sorting anything, the goods that the customer wants. But these things break. And we want to prevent that it breaks. And we saw that the height of the carrier determines when it's about to break. And we are now with a high-speed camera. We're monitoring all the wheels of the carts to see when they deteriorate. If they go a little bit smaller, then we need to act. And that makes that we don't have to check all the carts every week, every month by service technician, but only when the computer says, hey, there's something there, this wheel is getting smaller, we need to act here, we can put service to that one.
So at the moment you can do it.
At the moment of need.
You want it,
yeah. So
what's the business value of such a service, for example, for a large customer you have?
Yeah, so for this customer, the uptime goes up with 5%. And he said, well, what is 5%? 5% means 1 hour runtime a day, which means 24,000 of orders that can be go through the facilities.
So tens of millions of euro. Whatever.
Absolutely, well, millions of euros. Yeah,
okay.
And maintenance time lowers as well. So it's the knife cuts on two sides there, and it's a great first.
Super business critical for your customers. So,
absolutely,
yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
And within Sika, do you have also a journey into servitization?
Absolutely. So what we did a couple of years ago, we did a survey with some of our French distributors, and it turned out the ultimate question was, hey customers, what would you like to have? What was the digital service which should you provide you with? And the ultimate answer was that Sika is a little bit disconnected from the customers. This was round about the pandemic, so no physical contacts, and we are in the B2B business, so let's face it, it's all about loyalty and long-lasting relationship, as you just said. Yeah. And all the customers were looking for is one phone number I can call 24/7, 7 days a week, and I can ask basically anything. If I need a technical solution, some kind of technical questions, if I need an invoice, if I need my price list, whatever, I need one number and I'm expecting that I will get immediately anything I want. If there is a human being or a robot behind that phone line, doesn't matter. So we try that kind of business pain point and business wish, we try to transform into a digital solution. So we created a self-service portal where customers can easily log in, can easily check their invoices, can easily download whatever they need. And I think the more and more we can provide our customers with self-service, with immediate services, with high quality services, which are always available and always there at their fingertips, customer will feel more engaged and more personal in terms of the relationship with our company.
But you have extremely different customers, right? Small manufacturers and huge construction companies which use thousands of your products. So how do you serve all them through one channel in a way that they really like it? How do you solve that puzzle? Mm-hmm.
I think that's the beauty of B2B, that it's quite similar to B2C, because at the end of the day, we are dealing with human beings. And the human beings, or the normal B2C marketing, is all about segmentation. But that's a principle we can easily adopt and reuse, recycle in the B2B domain as well. The larger the customer, probably the different requirements, the different pain points they might have, they might need a different kind of service, and they're more into service and portals. The smaller the company is which you are dealing with, maybe some kind of email-based interaction, something semi-automatic, less complicated, more simplified, like an FAQ, like a chatbot, could be a more suitable solution. But ultimately, the strategy is for the right segment, try to identify the right technology, the right service, and try to address the right pain points of your customers.
And this journey, I understand that within a couple of months you rolled out in 100 countries a total new web platform for Sika. Can you give away a sort of secret of how did you manage to do that?
I think when you start, you're relaunching your website, which is basically the fundamental piece of every single customer interaction. So you have 30 million chances, since you have 30 million visits a year on a Sika website, to succeed or to fail. But it's an opportunity to do something good for your customers. If I were myself, my suggestion for my future self would be, let's wait for the next pandemic, because the pandemic is the best way to roll out a website. Let's face it, what is a B2B marketing about? It's about physical contact with the customer, events, trade shows. During the pandemic, all these trade shows were cut offline and they were all canceled. So you had plenty of marketing resources who basically theoretically had nothing to do 8 hours in a day in a normal working day, because there were no trade shows. And you all
transferred them into digital marketing experts.
And from one day to another, you have to make them understand that now customer interaction is all about online, remote, or in the digital virtual space. Nowadays we would call it the metaverse. And now transforming those marketeers, those trade shows marketeers, from a question of weeks into digital marketeers, and let them understand why it is important that your content or the website is up to date, and why it is important that your website is always available and always something relevant for their customer needs. So the pandemic was the best thing which could ever happen in conjunction with a website relaunch project across 100 countries and hundreds of users.
Well, the same accounts for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, if the COVID pandemic was not coming along a few years back, then I think my plan was still PowerPoint, right? So it made it strategic relevant at that moment for the company. It was always, but it wasn't strategic enough. It wasn't painful enough. So it really accelerated.
But now, since the pandemic is over, hopefully for many years to come, did everybody get back to what they used to do, or was there some structural change also?
What I see nowadays is that physical trade shows, physical contacts with the customers, since this year's March, since the end of the pandemic, at least here in Europe, are again taking big time. So that's also still the key part of our fundamental relationship management strategy with our customers. But on the other hand, I have to say that throughout the pandemic, we hired so many talents, ladies, gentlemen, younger generations, whatever, with digital capabilities and digital skills, whether it was for IT, for myself and strengthening my team, or the same profiles applying at the same time to marketing jobs within Sika, that we increased the level of skill set and the level of experience our roster has, our people have. And with that, we are able now, without the pandemic, of course, to take digital transformation into the next level, because finally we have the right skills and right people to do so.
So I think, maybe you can conclude that during the pandemic, people learned how to use digital channel to keep doing business and to add value there. And now when there's still the possibility of having the physical contact, you find a new sort of balance using physical meetups and events combined with new digital service, right? For sort of new strength.
That's a fair statement. The future is hybrid. And whatever the customer needs is similar to any kind of retail business, basically. The customer has an idea, has a credit card, and wants everything immediately. Now, whether it's a physical trade show with some kind of demonstration of our new products or technologies, or just I need my invoice through a portal, it doesn't matter. I need it immediately. And I am the customer, I'm making the decisions. And Sika is not able to cope with this kind of challenge. Then I will go to someone else.
Okay, let's talk about e-commerce a little bit. Question to both of you. How important is it nowadays, and is it growing in importance?
Of course, it's relevant for us. It is, and it's a growing customer since in the last years. So e-commerce is getting at the core of what we do. So yes, it's getting absolutely more important to us.
And you also use e-commerce channels to sell spare parts and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we adopted ourselves, of course, with Valtech. So it's all about the digital customer experience. So in the old days, they can give us a phone call and order spare parts, but they can order it somewhere else as well. So we want to be, how do you call that? The ease of working with Vanderlande. That's why we really put much higher now. That's why we built this customer portal where people can, with the blink of an eye and a click, they can order their spare parts through our portal, fully integrated with their backend. That's totally different than from person to person calling, making lists and typing. And this is one example that we fully embrace, and we already see the big benefits of that in the last year since we launched the portal.
Yeah, so using this customer portal concept to drive servitization, that's really something that's going to be growing in a couple of years, right?
Yeah, so if you talk about driving servitizations, it's also about the other features and functions in that portal. So all the capabilities that we build in the Digital Service Factory are also made available through that portal. The predictive insights say, hey, there's something going on in your system you might look at, and we can cross-link that to documentation that's needed, or maybe training that's needed, or whatever is needed. Already ordering new spare parts. And I think that's, if you zoom out a bit, if you work with big from B2B, we are a big company. Our customers are big companies. They have several roles. They all work together. It's like sometimes a spaghetti of people that work together. And this customer portal, it doesn't take it over because it's still a people business, but it supports it. It makes it much easier, much more convenient. If an account manager checks in on our customer portal in the future, he'll check, hey, how's the system doing? What are the latest tickets that are open? Who is my rep on the other side? Did it change or not? And the customer can do on the other side as well. Imagine then how the meeting goes. Well prepared, you both know how things are going. And that's the future that we see.
How do you see that at Sika, e-commerce and customer portals? Is this also important growth element in your digital strategy? Absolutely, absolutely. So the good thing is about when you are working for a fairly conservative Swiss construction company, that you don't have to enforce digital transformation only by yourself within the company, but it's driven mainly by the customers themselves. So the customers are going through as well a generational transformation when it comes to the new generation of people who are buying construction chemicals, who were born and raised with Amazons, with eBays, with marketplaces, with e-retailers. And these kind of e-commerce solutions, they have to be at their fingertips. And we are not capable of providing them with the right technology at the right time, then we will easily lose against our competition. So that's why I'm really happy that we are not only acting as a monolith B2B e-commerce platform with hand-picked customers, but we are also active with sharing in a syndicated version of our content with e-retailers, with marketplaces, that we are offering our distribution partners the capability that they can easily take the content they exactly need, what they have on their stock, what they would like to sell, what they would like to position. And for me as an IT guy, the challenge is itself how to combine 15 different data sources, whether it's product information, a catalog, price information, the quantity, APIs for orders and stock information, pictures, videos, documents. Around how many products, by the way, within Sika?
Roughly 150,000 if I count all the different versions of our materials. And it's a huge challenge for IT as well, because we've never been facing such a situation that out of 15 different data sources, we have to provide in a question of seconds exactly what the customer needs and what the customer needs to buy. And since we are quite fragmented as a global IT landscape, it's definitely not an easy job. And you mentioned spaghetti before, and as an organization, we are facing now a spaghetti architecture because so many integration capabilities are used across all these systems. And for me, the biggest challenge, how it will scale, how I can keep it maintainable, stable, and almost in real time available for the customers.
Well, the great thing is we're not there yet, so we're in a journey altogether. That's the last topic I would like to talk about is organizational change. We already had many conversations, of course, but I think it's not technology or the concept or the money. It's about the way an organization is able to adapt and embrace digital change. How did you manage to change the organization? What's the most important factor?
Yeah, so maybe I'm on the lucky side. I could build up a new organization within an organization as a startup.
The digital service factory.
Digital service factory. So started with 12 people and has been growing to 90 people in 1 year, which is a challenge at itself. But that aspect, I think we're quite good at it in the last 2 years where we're at. But if you look forward, the next step is we can create these great digital capabilities, and we're on it every day. But then I need to partner with my business representatives, the business units in airports and parcel and warehouse. And we say, well, okay, how do you sell this? How do you market this? How do you service this? Instead of for service, always a nice practical example. Now we run through tickets because the system stopped or something's broken. And then they get a ticket in the future where they say, hey, we saw something happening, might take a look at it because in the future it might break. That's a total mind change. How do we sell digital in license-based models instead of selling hardware and an after-sales phone number? This is the hotline you can call. That's a totally different concept. And that's the change that is ahead of us, because we're not one organization doing everything, because we're 9,000 people. So you have multiple organizations within that. So you're siloed. That's always the case. So our next step is really, how do we take sales along our journey? How do we take service along our journey? How do we make sure this is marketed in a different way? And that is what is ahead of us. And that's an order.
But your digital service factory is cross-siloed, right? So all silos are sort of represented within your team.
Well, it depends on how you explain it. We work for each segment. So we serve all the business segments, but we don't have all the capabilities in our team. So we have an agile team organized, but we need to work with project management from the business to understand, hey, what's happening in the market, what are the customer needs, and how do we translate that to product roadmaps and backlogs. So there's always collaboration taking place with people, because it's a people business. And we're so full of the digital part that we're in, but the people that you work with might not or need to get on board. So it is really taking people along and not just getting them excited for it, but also, hey, what's the business value that we all run the same way? And then there's a change aspect is big.
And it's a team composed of Valtech, Valtech team members, but especially Vanderlande team members, other partners, different countries, different languages. It's so many different backgrounds.
Oh yeah, in our own team. Yeah, absolutely. So in my team, if that's what you want to address, we have a very multicultural team. It's from different nationalities, genders, age, everything, but also internals. We had a huge challenge to scale up from 12 to 90. You can imagine there's a really scarcity on digital labor, but yeah. So we managed with on the one hand hiring people, getting good people in, but also getting contractors in, but work also with partners like Valtech, because our core is not developing customer portals. So that's why we worked with you, with Valtech, and say, hey, this is your core business, help us out there. And it tremendously helps in our time to market.
And how did you change the organization? What is your secret to success?
So I differentiate between two different levels when it comes to the organizational changes. First is the micro level, when I'm only focusing on my IT service line, my IT teams. In a nutshell, our teams is basically the customer-facing engagement platforms. So whatever you think about a website, an e-shop, analytics, or CRM. In our vision, 10 years ago, Sika decided that we should stop developing software. We shouldn't be a set of or army of programmers because we can never scale. So that was an important decision. Nowadays, we are, I think, in my opinion, close to a decision where we need to redefine a little bit what the role of IT is in a company which is not based on core IT services yet. And I think the next step is how we deal with support and operations, which are not necessarily the extra added value services nowadays, and how we outsource those capabilities step by step. And then what is left is basically we need architects, we need brains, we need solution designers, we need project managers, we need somebody who can drive the business throughout the digital transformation journey, a trusted technical digital advisor. So it dramatically changes how I'm trying to hire, what kind of skills I'm looking for, more about soft skills, more about listening, more about asking the right questions, like business engineering, a business analyst type of guys or capabilities or profiles which are not as specialists but more generalists, but can easily use across different projects and initiatives. So that's a huge transformation currently for IT, and really find and redefine for the next 5 to 10 years what our role is as an IT organization. On a macro level, when it comes to how we collaborate as a matrix organization in the decentralized organization, just like Sika, with 100 countries, with 100 little kingdoms and kings and queens. On the other hand, we have centralized functionalities or core functions like marketing, communications, and digital, or IT itself. And I don't believe in one single big digital environment or one single IT department. I think the lines are getting more and more blurry between those functions, corporate functions, just like we had the other day a lady with outstanding expertise in data analytics was applying for an IT job. On the other hand, she was also applying for a marketing job. And that's what really makes it special nowadays, that just
comes together.
It all comes together. And at the end of the day, as long as we can agree, okay, what the next projects are, how do we hire people, what type of profiles we would like to hire, how much budget we are asking for, as long as business can easily align with IT and they are working hand in hand and the ownership and the responsibilities are somewhat shared or at least aligned who is doing what, I don't see the need of one big huge team of hundreds of people doing something around digital. And I think what our former CEO also said a couple of years ago, everybody should have 5% of digital in her or himself, because otherwise all the pieces of the puzzle will never come together.
Yeah. Can I add something to that, Herbert? Or
No,
is it ruining your questions?
You're good.
I think you're totally right. But I do think it needs a team that day in, day out focus on it, on a central organization, to at least give it a boost. We tried for years also the philosophy, well, everybody should be a bit digital, but then nothing happens because nobody has the time. So you need something that really drives it. And I completely agree. So it should not only be central, it should be everywhere in the veins in the business. But depends on the maturity level where you are. I think to be at where we want to be, it should be in the hearts and veins in the business, supported and enabled by a central team. I think that's the optimal.
Well, maybe you already answered my final question to wrap up things. Other large industrial manufacturers just embarking on this journey, what would be your most important tip to speed up?
Well, first of all, get full board buy-in and strategic focus on why you do this and what's in it for the company. Because that only enables investment. And without investment, this is not going to fly. I'm sure of that, at least not in Vanderlande maybe. So that's one thing. Make sure you get real strategic buy-in for that. And once you have that, start small and create small successes with customers and scale up from there. Instead of going with a big bang umbrella style or full global, just pick one or two customers, focus on those, get success, and yeah, like an oil stain, right? It goes out.
It's still amazing what Vanderlande has been doing the last couple of years on this journey. So good. Thank you very much, Jelle. Peter.
So, in my opinion, every company should decide first why digital. What is it? What I should do with digital? How does it help my business to grow? Do I need anything like digital, or should I be something like a Netflix or a Facebook or Google? And where am I on the scale of maturity? What should be my goal? And the second suggestion I would have, don't think about technologies. Don't think about the big American software companies. Think about customer pain points first you would like to address with processes, with technologies. Because at the end of the day, what you are trying to do with digital, and I think it's only a set of tools, and maybe 10 years we were talking about something completely different, is that you would like to do business better than your competition. Yeah. Because nobody wants to fight with the price, especially Sika not. The fundamental piece of our strategy for the last 100 years has been that we are not really negotiating raw material prices increases. Sorry, dear customers, but we also need to increase the price of the product. And that's how we work. We do not leave so much room for negotiations, except for big volume. So the only chance we have, strategically speaking, to change how we work. We need to do better, faster, more effective, more customer-oriented, more tailor-made when it comes to content, when it comes to pricing modeling. And we need to satisfy the customer in every single way when we are interacting with him or her. And then technology doesn't really matter. What type of content management I'm using will not change the world. The people will change the world, and the customer pain points I'm trying to address. And if I can understand those customer pain points, first of all.
Well, thank you very much. And I think Sika is a company that really listens to its customers solving pain points. Great. Thank you very much for your insights. Well, let's wrap up and go to the Web Summit and see if we have some more inspiration there for us to talk about next time. So thanks so very much, man.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Really appreciate it.